You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
We're back with the chairman of the New Hanover County Commission, Mr. Jonathan Barfield Jr., and Commissioner Brian Berger. And we're talking about issues that are prominent in the county right now. Before the break, I said maybe we try. I don't know that we can get back to trying to figure out where you're going to bridge the gap, since you've been grappling with this issue for months and haven't come up with a solution of consensus yet. So why don't we let that lie for a moment and talk about another big issue. The county is dealing with the possibility of being declared the only county in the state of North Carolina to exceed the new EPA requirements regarding emission levels of the toxic chemical sulfur dioxide in the air we breathe. This non-compliance with air quality standards now threatens the county with what's called a non-attainment status, which could result in withholding of federal funds if the county is declared a non-attainment county.
The consequences could certainly be severe.
Other restrictions that would impact future growth and development. Your response to that?
The reality is the state put out 4 monitors initially for the whole state, or EPA put out 4 monitors in the whole state. And how our county was lucky enough to be one of those 4 counties, I don't know. But I know that they put those monitors into place so they thought industry would matriculate, and industry did go there. And our goal right now is really to find ways to mitigate that situation so that we are not declared non-attainment. We hired an engineering firm to come in and put 2 additional monitors in the county, one on the north end, one on the south end, and we're hoping to be able to submit that information to the EPA to help lessen the fact that we don't have, try to prove the point that we do have good air quality here.
What's your comments on that?
I'm not sure that, and I'm not an expert enough to know if I would necessarily agree with Jonathan's statement about us having great air quality here. I think there are many who would say that we don't, and that's why we're in this position. But I think this is definitely a very clear indication that we need to be more responsible with protecting our environment, that in the past, we know a lot now that wasn't known decades in the past. But given what we know
about
now,
emissions
about the environment and how that impacts
and how industry impacts the environment,
and how the environment impacts human health, and I think we definitely need to be more responsible in protecting the environment, and also
would you agree?
Not just public.
Would you agree with that?
Without a doubt. I mean,
so we have not been good stewards of our environment.
Again, when you look at where the industry is located, that's putting out the greatest bit of SO2. It's right on the New Hanover County, Brunswick County line. And it's not really endemic of the whole entire county, which we had a person come in from the Division of Air Quality pointing out where that area is. And it's just really one part of our county. I think the majority of our county is fine. But the other part of that is that the EPA just lowered their standards. Before we were in attainment, for all these years we've been in attainment. And I look at it, in my opinion, and it's just kind of putting out there as job security.
And Jonathan's right about both of those points he just made, and a big part of this issue is we don't want the EPA, a Washington bureaucracy, to come into New Hanover County and take control over things that should be under local control and be dictating from Washington how we conduct all of our affairs.
But if the county's not protecting the quality of the air, why shouldn't they?
Well, we will be back in attainment because of changes being made at the Sutton plant in a couple of years. So to suffer from onerous EPA punitive regulations that would seriously curtail our ability to create jobs and bring new businesses here is simply way beyond what's needed, because we will be back in attainment, is my understanding, in a couple of years, regardless.
How does this whole issue impact your thinking on whether Titan should be allowed to build the world's 4th largest cement plant along the banks of the Cape Fear River?
Well, for me, this is not a Titan issue. It's an air quality issue because Titan won't be here for several years down the road. And our goal is really to be out of the whole detainment conversation well before a plant is built here, if Titan does indeed get
But
permitted to
it
build
is
here.
known that Titan will impact the quality of, or will add to the toxins in the air.
It is, and you know, we had the DAQ speak at our last county commission meeting, and we were very clear and specific that this issue is not a Titan issue in terms of them educating the public on SO2, the non-attainment. This is not about Titan, because Titan's not here yet. We're looking at what we're dealing with right now in Yonah County as opposed to what
Do you
could be
support
here.
Titan coming here?
I do not.
Do you?
No, I don't, and I think Titan being recruited here with incentives is symptomatic of a bigger problem, and that's our
By
strategy.
the county commission, and I might mention neither of you were on the board at that time.
And that's our strategy with economic development, which I think if there was going to be one great legacy that this board could leave, it would be to develop a strategy for economic development for the future that takes advantage of all that we have to offer here, all the natural resources. If we could do that in the next couple of years, that would be a great legacy for this board too.
We're running out of time. I want to get to the solid waste management issue. R3 came to the table, were given a contract. The contract was extended. They could not live up to the contractual obligations. How much of a gamble was the R3 proposal?
The reality is, Don, had it worked, just like Waste Tech was the cutting edge technology when it was built in 1984. It's the only waste to energy facility in our state, and it really put our county on the map. And had the concept worked, we would have been another innovative county again, back in the spotlight again. And so I look at the possibility of what could have been, and there are many contributing factors that allowed that process not to work.
Do you support closing Waste Tech?
I did support that, given the $500,000 a month leak and the impact on the budget. I did vote in favor of that.
I do not support closing Waste Tech. I'm fine at this point with the layup of it, but my goal is to bring it back and have it continue to reduce what we put in our landfill.
So what happens now? An RFQ goes out for more proposals to manage our solid waste?
Well, I think the next step would be to determine who we could hire to refurbish Waste Tech and get it up and running. At this point, I would not be in favor of privatizing it or taking it to any particular company. I think county government can handle its own solid waste. Based on the millions of dollars that folks have floated out that wants to take over our operation, I think we can do it ourselves.
We're out of time. Thank you both for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
Don. It's great
Yeah,
to be here.
we could keep going because I have questions about Cape Fear Public Utility Authority and other issues. Maybe you'll come back and
Anytime.
weigh in on that. Thank you both. Next week, at the age of 14, he escaped from the brutal regime of the Ivory Coast in Africa. He now lives here in Wilmington, and he'll tell his amazing story on Byline next week. I'm Don Ansell. Have a great week.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning as we explore the issues that concern you.